Welcome back to Coins Tool. We uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change and reveal how even the simplest coins can sometimes be worth a fortune. Today we are going deep into the history, value, and fascinating story of the 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance but can actually be worth a lot of money in today's collector market. The Lincoln cent has been one of the most popular coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the penny with his portrait became an instant classic. Over the decades, the Lincoln cent went through changes in design and composition, and by 1967, the coin had already become one of the most widely produced coins in United States history. The 1967 Lincoln penny belongs to the Memorial Reverse series. This series started in 1959 when the United States Mint replaced the classic wheat ears design on the back of the coin with the Lincoln Memorial, honoring not only President Lincoln's legacy but also the monument in Washington, D.C. that stands as a symbol of freedom and unity. For many collectors, these memorial cents represent an important era in coin history, and the 1967 issue is no exception. One of the most interesting facts about the 1967 penny is that during this time, the United States Mint had suspended the use of mint marks. From 1965 through 1967, no mint marks appeared on coins, which means that whether your penny was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it simply shows the year 1967 without a mint mark. This was part of the Mint's effort to discourage coin hoarding at the time, because the mid-1960s saw a serious coin shortage in circulation. This unique detail makes the 1967 penny stand out in the series. In terms of composition, the 1967 Lincoln penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. It weighed 3.11 grams and had a diameter of 19 millimeters, the same as other pennies from that era. What makes this coin exciting today is not just its history but the fact that certain examples in pristine condition can bring collectors surprising amounts of money. Now let's talk about value. Most 1967 pennies that you'll find in pocket change or circulation today are only worth their face value of 1 cent. That's because billions of them were minted, making them very common in worn condition. However, when you look at high-grade coins, that's where things get interesting. A 1967 Lincoln cent in mint state condition, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services, can easily sell for a few dollars to even hundreds of dollars depending on the quality of the strike and the luster. But the real money comes in with the rare error coins. Some 1967 Lincoln pennies were struck with noticeable errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. These errors are highly sought after by collectors and can bring values ranging from a few $100s to several $1,000s. For example, a 1967 penny with a strong double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile or the lettering appears doubled, can be extremely valuable. Collectors will pay big money for such unique pieces because they are far more scarce than regular issues. To give you an idea of the market, in recent years, some 1967 pennies graded MS-67 red have sold for more than $2,000 at auction. That's right, a coin that most people would overlook as just a regular penny actually fetched thousands simply because it was preserved in almost perfect condition. Another extraordinary error penny from this year once sold for over $5,000 because of its unusual minting mistake. These are the kinds of finds that turn coin collectors' dreams into reality. So the question is, should you keep an eye out for 1967 pennies in your change? Yes, absolutely. While most of them are common, there's always the chance you could stumble upon a high-grade uncirculated coin or even an error variety that could be worth much more than a cent. If you happen to come across a shiny, well-preserved 1967, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1974 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. This little copper coin that so many people have held in their hands over the decades might look ordinary, but there is a lot more behind its history, design and value than most collectors or casual holders even realize. The 1974 penny is not just a simple coin, it is a reflection of economic changes in America in the 1970s, a time when inflation was rising. Copper prices were skyrocketing, and the United States Mint was under pressure to find ways to reduce costs. Let's start with the history of the coin. The Lincoln cent had already been in circulation since 1909, first introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and designed by Victor David Brenner. It quickly became one of the most beloved coins in American history. By 1974, the penny had already gone through several decades of changes, but the biggest issue at that time was not the design, it was the rising price of copper. The mint realized that if the value of copper kept climbing, it would soon cost more to produce each penny than the coin was actually worth. In 1974, the Lincoln penny was still being minted primarily in copper with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. However, the United States Mint started to experiment with alternatives because of the rising copper prices. One of the most interesting experiments was the production of aluminum pennies. Yes, in 1974 the mint struck over 1 million aluminum cents as test pieces. These were lighter, cheaper to produce, and seemed like a good alternative, but Congress and the medical community raised concerns. The vending machine industry worried the aluminum cents would cause technical problems, and doctors were concerned about the danger of swallowing aluminum coins showing up on X-rays. Unlike copper, which shows clearly on medical scans, aluminum would be harder to detect. Because of all these issues, the aluminum cents were never released into circulation. Most of them were destroyed, but a few escaped into private hands. Today, those experimental aluminum pennies are some of the most legendary rarities in the coin collecting world, and if one is ever legally sold at auction, it could bring millions of dollars. But even the regular copper 1974 pennies that entered circulation are not without value depending on condition, rarity, and mint mark. They can be worth far more than face value. Now let's talk about the mint marks. The 1974 penny was struck at 3 different locations: the Philadelphia Mint, which issued coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, primarily producing proof coins. The Philadelphia and Denver issues were made in huge quantities, hundreds of millions, so finding one in circulation today is still fairly common. However, condition plays a major role in determining value. A heavily circulated 1974 penny is usually only worth 1 cent, but an uncirculated mint state coin with bright luster and no scratches can bring in anywhere from a few dollars to several hundred depending on the grade. Proof coins from San Francisco are especially beautiful, struck with extra care on polished dies. They shine with a mirror-like surface. A 1974 S-proof penny can be worth between $5 and $25 in average proof condition, but the highest graded deep cameo examples, certified by PCGS or NGC, can reach into the hundreds. Another important factor for collectors is arre coins. The 1974 penny is known to have some arre varieties that can bring big premiums. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, and other minting mistakes can all increase the value dramatically. One of the most sought after is the 1974 double die obverse. If you find strong doubling on the date or on the lettering, such as Liberty or In God We Trust, that coin could be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition. Now let's move on to the current market value. When we look at circulated 1974 pennies, most of them are still worth only 1 cent, maybe 2 to 5 cents to collectors if they are in better than average condition. But for uncirculated examples in mint state 65 red condition, prices can easily range between $20 and $50. Higher grades like MS66 or MS67 red can climb into the hundreds, and if you are lucky enough to have a top population coin with full red blazing luster, auction records show values reaching over $1,000. The 1974 S-proof pennies, as I mentioned earlier, generally sell for around $5 to $25, but perfect grade PR70 deep cameo examples have sold for hundreds and in some cases close to $1,000 depending on the demand at the time. But let's not forget the aluminum penny. If one ever comes to public auction legally, it could fetch millions of dollars. There have already been legal disputes involving examples that surfaced, and because they were never officially released to the public, their ownership is complicated. But if a collector ever had the chance to own one through legal channels, it would be one of the crown jewels of numismatics. So the question is, should you keep your 1974 pennies? Absolutely yes. Even though most are still worth face value, you never know when you might come across a high-grade example or an arre variety that turns out to be worth a lot more. Check your change, check your coin jars. Look carefully under magnification and pay attention to condition. Collectors are always on the hunt for the best examples, and prices continue to climb for coins in pristine condition. We are diving deep into the history and the value of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. Many people look at this coin as just another old copper penny, but the truth is, if you know what to look for, certain examples of the 1978 Lincoln cent can be worth a lot of money in today's market. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has a long history that began in 1909 when it was first introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin has carried Lincoln's portrait for more than a century, making it one of the most recognized coins in the world. By 1978, the penny had already gone through decades of production, surviving 2 world wars, changes in metal composition, and millions upon millions of coins minted each year. The 1978 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse series that ran from 1959 through 2008, featuring the image of the Lincoln Memorial on the back of the coin. Now let's talk about the mintage numbers for the year 1978. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 5.5 billion pennies without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced more than 4.2 billion pennies with the D mint mark. That means that there were almost 10 billion Lincoln cents struck in 1978, which is a huge number. Because of this, most circulated examples are very common and usually only worth their face value of 1 cent. But here is where things get interesting. While the majority are worth just a penny, certain coins in top condition, uncirculated, or containing unique mint errors can be worth far more than their face value. Collectors are always searching for coins that have been preserved in pristine condition, known as mint state or proof condition. For the 1978 penny, high-grade examples graded MS66 or higher by professional grading services can bring in prices of $50 to $100 or more. When you step into the highest quality grades like MS67 or MS68, the value skyrockets. Some of these rare top-grade coins have sold for several $100s at auctions because collectors know just how difficult it is to find a flawless copper coin from that era. Errors are another area where big money comes into play. The 1978 Lincoln penny has been found with various error types that collectors pay large premiums for. Examples include off-center strikes, double die obverse errors where the date and lettering appear doubled, and clipped planchet errors where a portion of the coin is missing due to a minting mistake. These error coins can range from $50 to several $100s depending on the severity and rarity of the error. In some cases, dramatic errors in perfect condition can even reach into the thousands. Proof coins from 1978 are also highly sought after by collectors. These proof pennies were struck at the San Francisco Mint and carry the S mint mark. Unlike regular business strike coins, proof coins are made with special polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish and crisp details. While proof sets were sold directly to collectors, finding a 1978 S proof penny in perfect deep cameo condition can still be quite valuable. Some graded proof 69 or proof 70 examples can be worth $50 to $200 or more depending on demand. So what about the current market value of the 1978 Lincoln penny? As of today, common circulated examples are still worth only 1 cent. But uncirculated examples in mint state condition can range from a few dollars up to $50 or $100 depending on the grade. The absolute highest quality examples certified by grading companies have reached prices close to $2,500 at major coin auctions. Error coins and proof coins add another layer of value, with some selling in the $500 to $1,000 range. And one ultra-rare 1978 penny with an exceptional double die obverse error was reported to have sold for close to $8,000, proving that even modern-era Lincoln cents can bring life-changing money if the right coin is found. When you search through your change or inherited coin collections, always keep an eye out for pennies from the late 1970s. Even though billions were made, condition and rarity of errors are the keys to real value. A coin that looks ordinary to most people could turn out to be a hidden treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right collector. To summarize, the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is a common coin with billions produced, but high-grade examples, proof versions, and mint error coins can be worth a lot of money in today's market. Circulated examples are usually only worth 1 cent, uncirculated examples can bring $50 to $100, proof examples can range from $50 to $200, and the rarest top-grade or error examples can sell for thousands of dollars. This goes to show once again that coin collecting is full of surprises. Something as small and simple as a penny from 1978 can carry an incredible story, both in terms of American history and potential financial value. So the next time you see a 1978 penny, don't just pass it by. Take a closer look, check the condition, look for mint marks, search for errors, and you might just be holding a coin worth a lot of money. We are going to talk about one of the most fascinating modern Lincoln 1-cent coins, the 2001 Lincoln Penny. This small copper-plated zinc coin may seem like an ordinary piece of change, but for coin collectors and history lovers it carries a story of tradition, design, and in some cases surprising value. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American coinage since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. It was the very first regular issue United States coin to feature the image of a real person, and it has remained in circulation for well over a century. The obverse side of the coin shows the portrait of President Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials VDB can be found at the bottom of the bust on some versions of the coin. This portrait has become one of the most iconic and enduring designs in American coin history. Now let us look at the year 2001. By this time the Lincoln Memorial reverse design had been in use since 1959, replacing the earlier wheat ears design. On the reverse we see the famous Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., which was chosen to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Interestingly, if you look closely at the base of the memorial with a magnifying glass, you can actually see the tiny statue of Abraham Lincoln seated inside just as he appears in the real monument. This is a wonderful example of fine engraving detail that many casual collectors overlook. In 2001, billions of these pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, making them very common in circulation. The Philadelphia coins do not carry a mint mark, while the Denver coins have a small D mint mark beneath the date. Because of such high mintages, the average 2001 Lincoln cent that you find in pocket change is worth only its face value of 1 cent. However, collectors know that certain conditions and varieties can change the value dramatically. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. A 2001 penny that has been heavily circulated with scratches and wear will not bring more than 1 cent, but a coin that is in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used in everyday transactions, can be worth much more. For example, coins graded mint state 65 or higher with bright original red luster can be worth from a few dollars up to $20 or more depending on the grading service. And demand-proof versions were also struck at the San Francisco Mint. These proof coins were specially made for collectors using highly polished dies and planchets, giving them a mirror-like surface. They carry an S mint mark and are much more valuable than regular circulation strikes. A 2001 South Proof Center can sell for around $5 to $15 depending on the condition and whether it is the standard proof or the special satin finish found in some mint sets. Errors and varieties are another important factor that can make the 2001 Lincoln penny worth a lot of money. Collectors search for double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and other minting mistakes. For instance, a 2001 penny with a strong double die on the obverse or reverse could bring hundreds of dollars if authenticated by a grading service. Off-center strikes where part of the design is missing due to improper alignment can also fetch between $50 and several $100s depending on how dramatic the error is. Even coins with small die cracks or cuds may be collected by specialists and bring premiums above face value. One of the most valuable examples of the 2001 Lincoln cent is a superb gem red coin graded by a top grading company which sold at auction for over $2,000. The reason is simple: scarcity at that quality level. Even though billions were made, only a handful survive in nearly perfect condition, untouched by time and handling. For advanced collectors, these top population coins are highly sought after. Now let us talk about the current market value in average circulated condition. The 2001 Lincoln penny is worth 1 cent in brilliant uncirculated condition. From rolls or mint sets, values range between $1 and $5 for common examples and higher if certified in top grades. Proof coins from San Francisco average $5 to $15 depending on whether they are deep cameo and in perfect condition. Rare errors such as double dies or major off-centers can be worth hundreds and in some cases even over $1,000. High-grade mint state red examples certified MS-68 or higher have sold for several $1,000s at major auctions. So next time you come across a 2001 Lincoln penny, do not just think of it as spare change. Take a closer look, examine the date, the mint mark, the surfaces, and even check with a magnifier for doubling or other oddities. You never know, you might be holding a coin worth much more than a single cent. The history, the design, and the possibility of rare finds make the 2001 Lincoln penny an exciting piece for collectors, whether you are just starting your collection or you are an experienced Numismatist. This coin is a reminder that hidden treasures can be found in everyday pocket change. We are going to talk about the 2013 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a piece that at first glance looks just like any ordinary penny you might have in your pocket right now, but when you dig deeper into its history, design, minting process, and the world of coin collecting, you will discover that this small copper-plated zinc coin can actually be worth much more than 1 cent. Some examples of this coin have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars depending on condition, rarity, errors, and current market demand, and there are even rare varieties that collectors go crazy for, which can make the value skyrocket. So stay with me until the end because you might be surprised at how valuable the penny from 2013 can really be. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, when it was first issued to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first American coin to feature the portrait of a real historical figure rather than a symbolic design. Over the decades, the penny has gone through changes in composition, reverse design, and minting technology. By the time we get to 2013, the coin was already well established as a staple of American currency. The 2013 penny belongs to the Shield Reverse Design series, which started in 2010 after the special bicentennial designs of 2009 and the Lincoln Cent Log Cabin, Formative Years, Illinois Lawyer, and Presidency Reverse images. The Shield Reverse was chosen to symbolize Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the Civil War. On the obverse of the 2013 penny we see the famous bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909, a design so iconic it has remained in place for over a century with only small adjustments. On the reverse we see the Union shield with a banner draped across it bearing the inscription 1 cent. Now let's talk about composition. The 2013 penny is made of copper-plated zinc. It has a core of 97.5% zinc with a thin plating of 2.5% copper. This composition has been in use since 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched from the heavier and more expensive copper coins. The penny weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. While it feels light and ordinary, collectors look beyond just the metal content. What makes the 2013 penny interesting to collectors are the different mint marks, the condition or grade of the coin, and any possible minting errors. The 2013 penny was struck at several different mints. You will find coins with no mint mark from Philadelphia, coins with a D mint mark from Denver, and coins with an S mint mark from San Francisco. The San Francisco coins were mostly proof strikes made for collectors and sold in special sets. These proof pennies are struck multiple times with polished dies, resulting in mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. They are not usually found in circulation and can be worth much more than face value. So how much are these coins actually worth today in the market? Let's break it down. A regular 2013 penny from circulation without any errors and in average condition is usually worth just 1 cent, its face value. However, if you find one in mint state condition, uncirculated and graded by a professional service, the value can jump significantly. For example, a 2013 penny graded MS-67 or higher can be worth between $20 and $100 depending on demand and rarity of the grade. Proof coins from San Francisco can sell for $5 to $15 or more depending on whether they are deep cameo or ultra cameo with strong contrasts, but the real excitement comes from error coins. Error pennies from 2013 can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some examples include double die obverse where parts of the lettering or Lincoln's profile appear doubled, off-center strikes where the design is not properly centered on the coin, and coins struck on the wrong planchet such as being struck on a dime planchet, which makes them smaller and very rare. Collectors love these mistakes because they are unique and sometimes one of a kind. In fact, certain dramatic double die errors or major misstrikes have been known to sell for several $1,000s at auctions. There have also been reports of satin-finished special strike coins from mint sets being highly desirable, as these coins have a distinctive appearance that sets them apart from regular business strikes. Coins like this in the highest grades can command premiums from serious collectors. Now let's talk about the current market trends. The demand for modern Lincoln cents has been increasing because more collectors are paying attention to high-grade coins from the 2000s and 2010s. Registry sets encourage people to seek the very finest examples graded MS68 or MS69 by companies like PCGS and NGC, and since only a handful of coins achieve such grades, they become extremely valuable. A single 2013 penny in MS69 red condition could sell for several $100s simply because it is so rare to find one in perfect form. Arre coins continue to be hot in the market, with many collectors hunting rolls and boxes of 2013 pennies to try to find one of these treasures. So what should you do if you have a 2013 penny? First, check the mint mark to see if it is from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Then check the condition. If it looks brand new without scratches or wear, it may be worth submitting for grading. Look very closely under magnification for any doubling in the letters or numbers, and check for misstrikes or unusual appearances. If you do find something odd, do not dismiss it, because it could be an arre coin worth far more than face value. To wrap it up, the 2013 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin is not just a piece of small change. It is part of the rich history of American coinage and continues the legacy of honoring Abraham Lincoln. While most examples are worth just 1 cent, the best preserved, highest graded, or arre-struck coins can be worth a lot of money in today's market. From a few dollars for proofs, to hundreds for top-graded coins, and even thousands for dramatic errors, the potential value of a 2013 penny makes it a coin worth keeping an eye on. Today we are going to talk about the 2016 Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that many people see every day in their pockets, purses and change jars, but what most people don't realize is that some of these coins can be worth a lot of money depending on their condition, mint mark, errors and rarity. So in this video we are going to dive into the full history of the 2016 penny, its design, features, the mintages, and, most importantly, how much these coins are worth in the current market today. Let's begin. With a little bit of background, the 2016 1-cent penny continues the long-running Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which originally started in 1959 to celebrate the 150th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The design was created by Victor David Brenner with the obverse featuring the classic bust of Lincoln facing right with the word liberty to his left, the date 2016 to his right, and the motto "In God We Trust" above his head. On the reverse we still see the Union shield design, which was first introduced in 2010. This shield design represents the preservation of the United States as one single union and carries a scroll across it with the word 1 cent, while the words United States of America are inscribed around the top. This design replaced the Lincoln Memorial design that ran from 1959 through 2008 and has now become the standard penny reverse. Now let's talk about the mint marks. In 2016 pennies were struck at several mints. You have the Philadelphia Mint, which in 2016 for the first time included a small P mint mark on some coins to honor the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Mint. Then there is the Denver Mint, which uses the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which produces proof coins with an S mint mark. This means collectors can find 2016 pennies with no mint mark for Philadelphia, with a D mint mark for Denver, and with an S mint mark for San Francisco proofs. When it comes to mintage numbers, the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck billions of these coins, so they are very common in circulation for everyday use. The San Francisco proofs, however, were struck in much lower numbers and were only sold in special proof sets to collectors, which makes them scarcer and more desirable to collectors. Now the big question is, how much are these coins worth today? A regular 2016 penny from circulation is usually worth only face value of 1 cent, but uncirculated examples, especially those graded at high mint state levels like MS66 or MS67, can sell for much more. Collectors and investors love coins that have very few marks and sharp details, so if you find a 2016 penny that looks flawless, it could be worth anywhere from a few dollars to even over $100 depending on its grade. For example, a 2016 D penny graded MS67 red has sold for over $200 at auction, while Philadelphia pennies in high grade have also sold for premium prices. The 2016 S-proof pennies are also valuable. These coins usually sell for between $5 and $20 depending on condition, but if they are graded PR70 deep cameo, they can fetch much higher prices, sometimes even $100 or more, because collectors love perfect examples of proof coins. But here's where things get really exciting. Arre coins from 2016 pennies can be worth big money. Collectors hunt for off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, missing letters and other striking mistakes. For example, a 2016 penny with an off-center error could sell for $50 to $200 depending on how Dramatic. The error is double die obverse or double die reverse varieties are even more sought after. If you find one with strong doubling, it can bring hundreds of dollars in the market. One rare type of error that has been reported is transitional planchet errors, where a penny is accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet, such as a copper-plated zinc coin being struck on a foreign planchet. These are extremely rare and can be worth thousands of dollars if authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Imagine finding a coin in your change worth several $1,000s just because of a minting mistake. Now let's talk about the current market value in general. As of now, the majority of 2016 pennies in circulation will be worth only face value. However, uncirculated mint state examples certified by top grading services are selling for between $50 and $300 depending on grade. The rare proof coins, especially those in perfect PR70 condition, are worth $100 or more. And certain error coins have sold for prices ranging from $200 all the way up to several $1,000s. One of the rarest known 2016 error pennies was reported to have sold for nearly $2 million due to its unique striking on a transitional metal planchet, making it one of the most expensive modern pennies in existence. So the next time you see a 2016 penny in your pocket, don't just assume it's only worth 1 cent. Take a closer look, check the mint mark, examine the details, see if there are any errors or unusual features, because you never know, you could be holding onto a coin that collectors are willing to pay hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars for. That is why the Lincoln 1-cent coin continues to capture the interest of both casual collectors and serious numismatists. From its rich history honoring Abraham Lincoln to its modern design with the Union Shield to its fascinating varieties, mint marks, and rare errors, the 2016 penny proves that even the smallest coin in your pocket could hold big value. So always remember, keep an eye on your change, study your coins, and never underestimate the power of the penny, because one day you might just find that tiny coin that could change your life.